You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 683.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from APG headquarters in Roswell, Georgia. Today's show is recorded the week of November 3rd, 2025.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Put your light and he's flying by. With the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, a deadly crash, a UPS cargo plane going down after takeoff in Louisville, and a warning about air travel chaos if the government shutdown continues.
You may see us close certain parts of the airspace because we just cannot manage it.
Also ahead, more news, your feedback, and today's plane tale. So get all settled in, tray tables and seat backs in the upright and locked positions, electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 683 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the number one all-news station in the nation. 1010 wins on 92.3 FM in
New York City.
Welcome to Airline Pilot Guy Show, the Airline Pilot Guy Show, actually, an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, former U.S. Air Force pilot and a retired Delta Airlines captain, 35 years. And joining me today from his Garden View studio,
in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
retired professional dog shooter, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain, Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff. Lovely to be back on the show again. Fantastic. Now it's show number 683, so I've got a little 683 story for you. And this one's a really easy one because we've all heard of it, the Avro 683, otherwise known as the Lancaster. Developed from the Avro Manchester, the Lancaster was crucial to the Allied bombing effort in Europe and was capable of carrying amazing weapons like the Tall Boy and the 10-ton Grand Slam earthquake bombs. It was also the aircraft, of course, used by 617 Squadron on the Dam Busters raids. Now, overall, the Lancaster delivered more than 600,000 tons of bombs, which represented 2/3 of the RAF's entire wartime bomb load. What a fantastic aircraft. Only two remaining flying in the world. One in the UK, the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, and of course one not far from producer Liz up there in Toronto.
And also joining us from his studio in the woods north of the Rectangular Bravo certificate. I meant to change this. Certificated Laird, race car driver, world-acclaimed chef, and comical multi-engine instrument rated pilot interested in anything with enough horsepower to kill him. It's Lord Alpha Juliet, AJ Schramm, and whatever else you want to go
I've been
as.
called many things, Jeff.
I know.
Many things.
You should hear the things we call you behind your back.
Really glad to be here, and I, of course, through the magic of audio, definitely been here the entire time. So great intro from Roger. I appreciated that. And glad to be here.
Yeah, right. Everybody believes you. Okay. Well, now, from her studio in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, retired financier and aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our producer, it's the lovely Liz Piper.
Hi, everybody. And for our Canadian listeners, the Lancaster is actually in Hamilton, Ontario, very close to Toronto. You were right, Nick, at the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum. But she's flying. She's up there every summer. They put her away for the winter, but she's up there in the summer.
Right, fantastic.
In Hammertown, huh?
Hammertown, that's right. The Hammer. We call it the Hammer here.
All right.
Mm-hmm. All right, you boys have a good show.
Thanks.
Cheers, Lou.
Let's do some aviation news.
Stand by for news.
All right, the first item we have is something that just happened day before yesterday, about little after 5 o'clock local time in Louisville, Kentucky. United Parcel Service MD-11, UPS MD-11 freighter was taking off. And we have a little bit of video here that I'm going to play while I continue to talk about this tragedy. During the takeoff roll, as we're seeing here on the video, some fire coming from the left side of the aircraft, and then a big, huge orange fireball. We have some other video as well. This from a truck dash cam video, and the guy's kind of looking over and sees something really bright in his truck windscreen, and he is obviously quite shocked by what he is seeing, and we're seeing what he's seeing in the top part of this video in Louisville, Kentucky, just off the end of runway 17 right. And we also have some other dash cam video here of the airplane coming down shortly after liftoff from the end of runway 17 right. A big fireball, you heard the big explosion there, and finally another piece of dash cam video from a different angle showing the airplane touching down, making first contact with the first building beyond the end of runway 17 right. Yeah, it's tough to watch these videos. The UPS cargo plane taking off from the airport in Louisville killed at least, I think the death toll now is up to 12, 3 pilot crew members aboard the UPS jet, and at least, well, 2 pilots. I'm not sure if they were all 3 pilots or not. And then, of course, 9 on the ground so far have lost their lives. Let's see, they were taking off from the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport, headed for Hawaii, and didn't make it very far. The thing was fully laden with fuel because it's a long flight to Hawaii from Louisville, Kentucky. Let's see, 5:14 p.m. is when it was taking off, climbed to 175 feet before swiftly descending. It was carrying 38,000 gallons of jet fuel. Of note, and we've already had at least one NTSB briefing on the very, very preliminary evidence in this tragic accident, and that is that it appears that the number one, the left engine, actually separated from the aircraft, very reminiscent of something that happened in 1979, I believe, American Airlines Flight 191, taking off from Chicago O'Hare Airport. The left engine separated from the left wing on that particular flight as well. So this is what we have. It appears that this is what has happened. I don't know if it was an explosion of the engine and that caused it to rip off the wing or pylon of the left wing, or what. But the fire that we saw in the video coming from the left side, obviously the big the hole, and that is left by the departure of the number one engine, and you have fuel pumping out at great volume, as well as hydraulic and all kinds of other fluids. I'm sure that this happened so quickly toward the right at about the time the airplane was rotating, and that there was I don't think there was any way that the pilots could have pulled a fire handle or done anything like that, which would have shut off some of the flow of fuel and hydraulic fluid and such. So it just happened so quickly that there's really nothing they could do. And they're also saying that the number two engine, they think, was also probably not providing a lot of power. It appears that in the video, the number two engine is compressor stalling, possibly due to airflow disruption from some foreign object damage from the number one engine. Not really sure yet. Of course, this is all very, very preliminary analysis from the NTSB and also from us and all the other so-called aviation experts out there. We're looking at the remains, or not the remains, but the actual flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder boxes that are very heavily charred because of the intense fire. But they think that it looks like they're relatively intact, and hopefully they'll be able to get good information from them. And again, we'll have all this in the show notes. Greg Peterson, hello, Greg, in our live audience, is saying there is CCTV footage of the engine actually departing the aircraft. Okay. If there was a saving grace in this incident, it was that they were taking off to the south. Had they taken off to the north, they would have crashed on a major interstate. Yeah, there's a lot more stuff, a lot more infrastructure, a lot more potential for tragic loss of life and injury if they had been taking off on 35 left. That's for sure. Wow. So what do y'all think about this? This is terrible.
Oh, absolutely, Jeff. And that you mentioned American 191, that DC-10. Although this was an MD-11, the basic airframes are very similar, and certainly most of the systems are the same. And in that case, the engine damaged hydraulic lines that kept the leading edge flaps in position, and as the aircraft climbed away, those flaps retracted because there was no hydraulic pressure to them anymore, and that caused the left wing to stall, and they very sadly crashed. A huge loss of life in that accident. So the parallels are there, but we're really unsure as to whether the same thing could have happened again. It's just appalling, and your heart breaks for everyone who has been involved in the tragedy, whether they have lost family members or they've just been involved in the clear up afterwards, because it's all pretty dreadful. I don't think I've got much else to say on it. How about you, AJ? You've got the thoughts?
I don't have a lot to add. Again, it's back to that. We don't know a whole lot yet. I can just tell my experience with it, with this, how I found out about this. I had just gotten done doing a return to service flight on a twin that had some significant engine work done. And so it was a little bit of one of those test flights where you're very, very paying attention closely to everything. It was kind of a stressful flight. And then as soon as I landed, pulled up my phone, and there's 34 messages and emails and things about all this. And it just kind of hit me in a weird way. So I don't know. Yeah, it's terrible.
Interestingly, to me anyway, it appears that the damage from the number one engine departing ended up on the right side of the runway, the west side of 17 right, both the cowling, some of the engine, and then of course the engine itself, the entire core of the engine ended up on the right side. So maybe that has something to do with the rotational velocity of the engine when it came off and then just rolled over to the right side. I don't know. Another point to be made is, at first there was some information out there that said that this flight had been delayed by a couple of hours and they were working on the number one engine. Maintenance was. However, I believe since all these, since that was made, those statements have been made, they have come back and said, no, that's not true, that they weren't working on, there was no delay, they were not working on that engine. However, our engine expert in our live audience, Greg Peterson, says that the aircraft was on the ground in San Antonio for about a month, not too long ago, and they were working there. Well, I'm not sure exactly. Was it engine work, or was there something else going on there? Greg, I'm sorry. I've already forgotten what you said was being done. The work thought it was maybe pressurization work or something like that. I don't know if it was actually specifically work on. Yeah, he said he's unsure about that. Leak in a fuel tank, Liz is saying. So, I don't know if that's related to this incident or not. Yeah. A lot of questions. I'm sure that the NTSB is going to be thoroughly investigating all these different things. Let's see. Greg says engine turns counterclockwise, forward, looking aft. Counterclockwise. Okay, forward, looking aft, counterclockwise. Yeah, so that would kind of naturally make the engine roll to the right. Thank you. Okay, so that, I guess that makes sense. So many questions here about what exactly happened. It's a tragedy. It's basically as soon as that engine lifted off, it was the crew was doomed. There was really nothing. They were just along for the ride. I don't think there was anything they could do from that point.
I mean, I've heard uninformed comments from people saying, well, the crash was due to the engine failure, but of course the aircraft is certified to fly on 2 engines. It can handle an engine failure and will still have enough power to climb away, and they can sort out the problem, turn around, come back on 2 engines. But if Jeff is correct in saying that the engine mounted on the tail, I'm not going to give it a number now in case I get it wrong again, was damaged and was surging, then that will reduce the thrust, and that makes it a real problem. They have very little chance indeed.
Right. Yeah. As you say, the things are certificated at full takeoff weight to be able to fly and return for a safe landing. But that's like when you have an engine failure and not completely ripped off and come off the aircraft, and then all the other associated problems with the fire and the possible flight control issues involved. Greg says there were 28 flights of this aircraft since the service in San Antonio. Yeah, a lot of questions here, and as I said, looks like I'm sure the NTSB is looking at all the different pieces of data that they have available to them to try to come up with what happened in this terrible accident. So we will definitely be following up on this as we get more information. Anything else to say before we move on to our next news item? Okay. So as many are probably aware, here in the U.S., and we've been talking about the National Airspace System, the NAS, here in the United States for quite some time, especially since that terrible accident in Washington, D.C. in January. I believe it was January, earlier this year. And the fact that the air traffic control staffing levels are not great and haven't been great for quite some time and just getting worse. And the new administration had said that they're going to make it their priority. Sean Duffy, the Department of Transportation Secretary, and the FAA Administrator have been pledging that we're going to be spending a lot of money, and the bill that was passed earlier this year to try to update the air traffic control system and the national airspace system here in the U.S. as quickly as they can. And then, of course, we'll throw in the government shutdown here. I think, what day are we on now? Like 37 or something? I don't know.
37 today, 38 tomorrow, I think.
38, okay. So that's not helping the situation. Air traffic controllers are not being paid. I think that they've gone a full month now without a paycheck. These people, they have, as Sean Duffy, the Transportation Secretary, mentioned in a speech, they have families, they have educational expenses, healthcare, all these different things that they still have to pay for. And some of them, unfortunately, have had to go out there and get other jobs, additional jobs, to make up the difference in the fact that there is no pay coming in. Now they will, I think, receive back pay, but when everything gets back in business, the government gets back in business. But anyway, it's a mess. As Tanya in our live chat says, this is freaking ridiculous. Yes, it is. Anyway, so we have this ongoing issue going on, and they just announced, Sean Duffy And the FAA administrator just announced that they're going to have to make some reductions in services at 40 airports. And I have a little clip. Hopefully I have queued up this to the right position. Liz, if you'll put that on the, this is again, Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary.
Difficulties in how they pay their bills. And so for air traffic controllers, they received a partial payment in early October. The second payment, they got a big fat zero, no paycheck at all. Tomorrow, they get a pay stub email on what their next paycheck is going to be. And when that pay stub comes out, that is also going to be zero. So they will have gone a month without any pay. And what we're finding is that our air traffic controllers, because of the financial pressures at home, are taking side jobs. They need to put food on the table, gas in the car, pay their bills. By the way, I do not want them to take side jobs. I want them to show up for work. We have asked them to show up for work, but I'm not naive to understand that they're trying to figure out how they meet their daily obligations. And so because of that, we have seen staffing pressures throughout our airspace. Those who travel will see that we've had more delays. We've had more cancellations. We do not want to see disruptions at the FAA or here at DOT. We don't want that. But our number one priority is to make sure when you travel safely. And that's why, as the administrator and I have been talking throughout the day, his team has been working for the last 24, 36, 48 hours crunching data. We're noticing that there's additional pressure that's building in the system. And again, our priority is to make sure that you're safe. And so we're going to talk about additional measures that we are going to take that's going to reduce the risk profile in the national airspace. And I'm going to turn it over to the administrator to do that. As he walks through what that plan is going to look like, I anticipate there will be additional disruptions. There will be frustration. We are working with the airlines. They're going to work with passengers. But in the end, our sole role is to make sure that we keep this airspace as safe as possible. The administrator is going to talk about all of the tools we're going to deploy. One of them, though, is going to be that there is going to be a 10% reduction in capacity at 40 of our locations. The administrator is going to tell you that this is data-based. This is not based on what airline travels, has more flights out of what location. This is about where is the pressure and how do we alleviate the pressure. And so I want to thank him for, again, him and his team's great work. He'll lay out what the specifics are of this plan, and then we're happy to take questions from all of you. Brian.
Okay, so that's a little clip from the speech from the transportation secretary, and the FAA administrator was just about to speak as well. But as far as I know, have there been any details released since this speech? Do you know, AJ, if they've actually identified which 40 airports are going to be?
I don't know all the 40.
reduced?
I believe it has been released.
Okay.
Atlanta is one of them.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. So things are not looking great out there. Wow. Okay. Anchorage, Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson, Boston, Baltimore, Washington, Charlotte, Cincinnati, Dallas, DCA, Denver, Dallas-Fort Worth, Detroit, Newark, Fort Lauderdale, Honolulu. I mean, basically all the big airports here in the United States, and some of the not so big airports in the United States. 10% cutback. So that's going to be flight cancellations and delays and everything else. So it's going to be interesting here if you're in the U.S. trying to travel somewhere. I'm not sure exactly. I think the question was asked by somebody at this particular speech or briefing from the Secretary of Transportation, as sometimes been true in the past for the international departures and arrivals, that they aren't usually affected, or just maybe slightly affected. This usually involves more of the domestic route system here in the United States. Oh, Main Man Micah is also in our live audience saying that this is also including Louisville, Memphis, and Cincinnati. So the package delivery airlines, are going to be affected by this as well. So that's going to also indirectly be affecting the citizens of the country here. So it's a mess. We're hoping that the politicians in Washington can come together and maybe give and take a little bit and get the government open again, so we can start paying the people in these safety sensitive positions in our air traffic control system come back to work and not have to worry about delivering Uber Eats and all the other stuff they're doing out there to help with their income. I don't know. What do you think, AJ? Are you still getting paid in your air traffic control related job?
Luckily, our contract was fully funded to the beginning, so we're
Good.
being a contractor. We're protected. Our students are not getting paid, but so far they've all shown up. And our next class, which starts off in the classroom before they come to us in the labs, is I think we lost 2 of them.
Okay.
2 didn't show up.
I think Sean Duffy did mention in his speech that before he started going into the 10% reduction at the 40 airports here in the U.S., that the staffing levels or the rate of training in the system has improved quite a bit over the last few months. And I thought immediately of Alpha Juliet and his part in helping with that. So that is good. That's positive. All right. Not a lot of positive stuff going on here so far in today's show.
Tough news day.
Yeah, it is. So let's now go to the Getting to Know Us segment. That's the time of the show where we briefly, usually, find out what everybody has been up to between show recordings. And let's see, who would like to... You know what? I could go first because I really haven't been doing anything at all other than doing my normal singing stuff. Have a couple of funerals tomorrow and a funeral on Monday and next Friday as well. So got a lot of extra singing going on in my life, and then the normal stuff that we do on the weekends. But other than that, the other thing I want to do now, while I have the floor, is to play the audio of the meetup, the unofficial APG or official, depending on whether I'm able to make it. I'm still planning on being there. Let's hear from Hillel. He's going to tell us about this.
Greetings, APG listeners. Join me, Hillel, for a mini meetup in New York City. Jeff's letting me out of the shower so I can meet up with you on Saturday evening, November 15th at a location in the Upper West Side. Meet up with me and other community members, including Mailman Dave Abbey and Tanya Wyman, and if he can get out of the studio, Radio Roger. The location and RSVP are in the show notes and on, you guessed it, Slack. So remember to RSVP, and until then, see you in Slack.
Get that RSVP information. By the way, he's going to be very, very clean because I'm letting him out of the shower, and he'll be there. That's Hillel. Thank you, Hillel. Let's see. Also, as you mentioned, Mailman Dave and Tanya is going to be there, and maybe Radio Roger. The information, the email to which you RSVP to Tanya is in our show notes. So make sure you check that out. And when he made the audio recording, he didn't know exactly where the venue would be. And as we mentioned last week, it looks like it's going to be at the Dublin House, one of the best Irish pubs in town. It's just steps from the 1 train at 79th Street and next to a Banksy. All right. There we go. So we've covered that unofficial/official potential possible meetup in New York City. And now I'm going to let somebody else save me by talking about what they have been doing since the last episode. Maybe AJ.
I can go. So since the last episode, had Halloween, which was a ton of fun. Of course, my kids, do the Halloween thing. I was trying to get this sent over. It'll take 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So my all three of my daughters actually went out trick-or-treating. So we had some friends come over from another neighborhood, and my wife and them and all the kids all went trick-or-treating, and I made chili. And it's always fun when they come over because the mother of the other kids is of Indian descent, and so she really, really likes spicy food like I do. So I actually get to make a special little side pot of chili for me and her, and put Carolina Reaper in it, and it was it was delicious. But nobody else.
When the kids come to the door and you give them a spoonful of chili, what do they hold their hands out and you pour it in their hands? Or
They just
what?
open their
No,
mouths.
we have individual little bags, little paper bags, and we just
paper bags.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah,
Never had soup
okay.
in a bag.
Well, that doesn't sound like it would work very well to me, but
Oh,
okay.
it works great. It works
Okay.
great.
Make sure you eat that chili before you get along too far, because it's going to be
Yeah, that's right.
all over the place.
The bag's gonna get all soggy.
Basically,
Right.
it worked out fine.
Okay.
But let's see.
I
There
would
it is.
love to try some of your chili. I'm
Oh,
a great
my.
chili. Oh my! Look what it does to your teeth, though.
Yeah, it does. It does have an effect.
Oh,
So,
dear.
Have you
That
told
is
her that she
scary.
needs to brush at least twice a day, or at least once a day? I don't know.
We've tried
I
that.
bet
We
they-
can't get her to wash behind her ears. Obviously, can't get her to wash her face either. It's a whole thing with these
Are
kids.
they glow in the dark teeth?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, brilliant! That's
Yep.
brilliant.
Let's see if I do this. Maybe. Oh, it's my required food picture of the show.
Oh,
The
very nice.
little surf and turf, some
Oh, I
ribeye,
like
and
the
a
Brussels.
nice broiled lobster, and some Parmesan lemon Brussels sprouts.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And then Saturday after Thanksgiving, my oldest had her final band competition of the year, and they absolutely trounced everyone else again. So they actually won
Wow,
every
brilliant.
single
Well done.
band competition that they've been in this year.
Wait a
so
minute. We haven't
very-
had Thanksgiving yet.
Hmm?
I thought you just said after Thanksgiving.
After Halloween, sorry. Did I say
Okay.
Thanksgiving? I meant
Yeah.
Halloween.
I think you said Thanksgiving, and I'm thinking, huh?
No.
Am I having a stroke again? I don't know.
She is somewhere in this gaggle right near the giant trophy. And I don't know if you can see this trophy very well, but that trophy is standing on the ground.
Wow.
Wow.
It's
a big
massive.
trophy.
It is like
Huge,
5.5 or
big
6 feet
trophy.
tall.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Nice.
Let's see. Other than that, yep, I think that's it. I think I mentioned
down.
that I did get to go fly the Flua Seneca, Turbo Seneca, which was, aside from the stress of the nature of the flight, it was quite a nice flying airplane. And I've been absolutely hounding the chief pilot of one of our local charter companies that's based at my airport, and he actually called me back today. So
Oh,
we'll see if that goes anywhere. But I don't know if you
Fingers
guys remember when you were, if it was like this when you were applying for flying jobs, but for every 150 applications or phone calls you make, you might get a response. So that's kind of
I remember
emotionally
that
difficult.
year. It took me to get a job very well.
Yeah.
So I know just how you feel.
So the fact that he called me back today made it a good day. So we'll see where that goes.
I think
Good job.
things were a lot better when I was applying, and my military background helped quite considerably.
Mhm.
And that was all the airlines back in the late 80s were really hiring like crazy. So yeah, it was. I didn't have that bad experience, thankfully. Very blessed. All right, Captain Nick, have you been patunking?
Yes, indeed. I've had a really nice. I can now play 4 days a week because I'm a member of 2 clubs. So Mondays and Thursdays, and the club up in Borden. Lovely bunch of people there as well. Tuesdays and Saturdays. So that's keeping me nice and busy. Do that all winter. That's going to be great fun. And I had to take my car to have it serviced, have the roof serviced. So I went, while I was waiting for it to be done, I went to an airfield, and I'm going to tell you all about it in this video.
Well, hi there, Jeff and everybody. It's the old pilot here, and I'm actually killing time. I'm waiting for my car to have its convertible roof serviced. So I come to a specialist roof company, and they take a few hours to do everything they need to do. So I'm just killing time, really, while I wait for the car to be done. So what did I do when I was killing time? Well, I came out here to Red Hill Aerodrome. Now, it's only a short bicycle ride for me, so I threw the foldable bicycle into the passenger seat of the convertible and drove out here, and then assembled it when I got in. And I didn't realize how uphill and down dale the countryside was around here. But I managed I managed to pedal the several miles to get here, and now I'm just about to have lunch. But I thought I'd record this and show you guys what it's like here. Now, Red Hill Aerodrome has been around since the 30s. It's just south of London, really. Very close to the M25, the circular road that goes all the way around London, and is the biggest circular car park in the world. You'd be glad to know. Anyway, the aerodrome really started off as a kind of training base for the RAF. They had things like the Miles Magister here, and they trained pilots prior to the Second World War. Once the war got going, then, it was an ideal place, really, to put fighters for the defense of London. And there was a remarkable number of units here, many too many for me to remember. But fighter squadrons, both Royal Air Force, Royal Australian Air Force, Royal Canadian Air Force, and others, and Polish. There were Polish units here, and they flew things like the generally Hurricane and Spitfire, and even the Mustang was flown from here. Also, they did a little bit of cloak and dagger stuff with the Lysander. A unit was based here, but there were really 20 or 30 units. Some of them didn't stay very long. They were often moved around, I guess, to rest the pilots, or just to move the unit to perhaps a different area that needed their assistance. But that was basically it. And during the war, obviously got a fair bit of attention from the Germans, but it's always ever been a grass airfield, even in recent years, because although they've tried to get planning permission to put a hard runway in, it's never been granted. And it's always been one of those pretty little grass airfields that really serves light aircraft and helicopters. Plenty of helicopters here. Bristow's helicopters had a base here for 40 years, and the police helicopters and things still operate from here, as there are training units as well. So after the war, the RAF pulled out of here, and it was turned over to civil aviation, and they've been here ever since. One of the most famous occupiers of Red Hill Aerodrome was the Tiger Club. Now, they were formed after the war with, as you can imagine, tiger moths. But members of the Tiger Club also fly a lot of vintage aeroplanes. They've sadly moved on to another airfield in Essex, but Red Hill was always well known for having the Tiger Club here. So that's it. They've got a lovely little cafe here called, I think, Hangar 9, and I'm about to have my lunch. We've got a show tomorrow, so I think it's tomorrow. What's today? Wednesday. Yes, tomorrow, Thursday. So I'll stick this in getting to know you then. And since I come here once or twice a year, if there's any listeners around who are near Red Hill, the next time I come here, I'll try and let everyone know. And perhaps we could have a lunch together in the Hangar 9. It's certainly a nice looking cafe and very reasonable. So that would be a good, fun thing to do. Right. That's it from me at Red Hill Aerodrome. Back to you in the studio, Jeff.
Oh, thank you, Nick. Looks a little blustery there at Red Hill.
It looks so blustery, it blew away all the scenery.
There we go. Now we're back.
I had to do a bit of sound editing on that to get rid of all the wind noise. The wind shields weren't really up to the job. It was really nice. Just a bit of a hassle riding all that way, but it was good fun. It's just a lovely expanse of grass and a great airport, I'm sure, for the users. So that was fun. And
beautiful.
It was actually.
Were you sitting on the bike when you were recording that?
No. I was on the decking outside the restaurant where
I was imagining you sitting on the bike. Like just arriving. Now you're going to get the camera out and do your audio.
I thought about that, but then I was a bit more organized than that. And I thought just while I'm still on here, can't do the cover art, perhaps.
Oh yeah, please.
Well, Liz is ready for that. So last week we had some good ideas, like what hit the max, a cheesemonger, cheese and trees. More beer, longer runways, and bigger women. Anyway, the whole bunch, including curry on the cable. But the one that took my fancy was Schrodinger's monkey. There was a little monkey that climbed into an aircraft, and they never saw it leave, and they never found it. So for all I know, it's still in there.
Did they even look up here in the cockpit? Obviously, that's where the monkey was.
No, and we also had a story about smoke and fumes in the aircraft, toxic fumes, which made me think of Schrodinger and his experiment, his mental experiment with a cat in a box and some poison. And was the cat alive or was it dead? Anyway, so Schrodinger's monkey,
yes,
or both, yes, at the same time. Yes, very clever. I never did quite understand how that works, but it was all to do with quantum physics. So I'm not really up to that standard. Anyway, with Schrodinger's monkey, I had to obviously put the little Easter eggs we have. And if you look the next window along from the monkey's head, you can see the logo in that white patch. There you go. You're just circling it nicely there. That's great. And if you go up, I made it really hard this time. There's a piece of white tape.
Yeah, look at that.
And there, in the white tape.
Yeah, you'll have to take this. You'll have to take the mouse down, and there we go, so we can see it.
Exactly. All right. There's the show number on that piece of white tape, very faint. And all that was left then was to hide the jackass, and there it is in the hole on the fuselage. Peering out was the jackass. So actually, the monkey there, the monkey wasn't alone. The monkey had a penguin to keep him company. So I thought
is that it, or is it
right in the top right corner?
Right. Yeah. There we go. Right there.
There he is. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. There you go. That's the jackass peering out of a little hole in the fuselage.
As they do.
There you go. Yeah. So that was last week's show art.
Very nice.
Thanks for all the suggestions.
Nick,
Excellent.
I'm really proud of you for making it through that without saying catchy monkey. Slowly catchy monkey.
Yes, softly catchy monkey.
Close enough.
I believe it was, because we used to have a TV police program called that. But there you go, called Softly. Anyway, yes, great fun. I'm looking forward to some great suggestions this week.
Very good. Very good. All right. And I guess it's now time also for us to talk about our coffee funds. Here we go.
Johnny, how much more coffee?
No thanks.
I love coffee, I love tea, I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Oh yeah, the Coffee Fund. It's your way, dear listener, to help us financially if you'd like, if you have the resources to do so. As we always mention, that if you have to spend your money on shelter and clothing and food and all the essentials in life, including flying lessons, please do that. But if you have some extra money to contribute, we'd love to have it from you. A couple different ways that you can contribute to the show. One is the Coffee Fund Classic method, and since the last episode, we had a couple of our listeners do that. Of course, our Mazut Karim, Dr. Karim, came in, as he does every month, with a generous donation. Thank you, Mazut. And also MetroDoc, Ernest Holiday, as we know him, though, MetroDoc, also gave us a nice, generous contribution as well, using the Coffee Fund Classic method. There's also another way that you can support us, and you can become patrons of the show via Patreon. Information about all that can be found by heading over to our website, airlinepilotguide.com/coffee. Join us if you don't mind. You'll be glad you did, and we will too. All right, now we have a treat on this episode. We have another installment of the Old Pilot's Plain Tales. This is a part 2 this week. So here we go with the Old Pilot's Plain Tales, Fast Jets on the Front Line, part 2.
The Old Pilot's Plain Tales, Fast Jets on the Front Line, part 2.
Now, you certainly seem to be getting more than your fair share of overseas postings. Overseas postings being the prize for any RAF pilot. As we now see you exploring the delights of RAF Germany on 19 Squadron.
That is absolutely true.
A tough start setting up the squadron, but how did your tour and your duty-free car go?
As far as we were concerned, the duty-free car was what it was all about. Not to mention £3 bottles of Glenmorangie.
Yeah.
Yes.
We didn't get a lot of that in Scotland.
No, you didn't, but we did.
No, I bet.
This was actually on the cover of the book, the handover day for the Lightning.
Is it? Oh, okay.
With me flying the Phantom and a guy from 19 Lightnings.
Excellent.
And I actually had a Harrier on the other wing with the command photographer who took the picture.
Well, that would have only been there for 20 minutes. Oh, mind, that's probably fine.
Well, I flew with the two, and I remember the briefing. And it said, right, I'll spend half an hour on the Lightning and then come back down through cloud, drop the Lightning off and pick up a Harrier and go back up into the training airspace again. And we'll do the same again. So there was a series of pictures, Phantom Harrier as well.
Brilliant.
And that was the day that we actually, it was, well, during the week that we took the colour of the Lightning Squadron. Was it the formal handover? No, it's a sort of informal handover, but including the colour and the joint formation.
Excellent. Now, you went to visit Berlin. It sounds fascinating. Now that the Cold War is a distant memory, perhaps you can talk a little about what it was like in Berlin.
Well, the first time, when I was just a squadron pilot, it was a recreational run up to Berlin, and we stayed in a place called Edinburgh House that was actually run by the NAFI. And the army put me in the sergeant's mess. So this is absolutely classic. So me to mess manager, can you assure me that all of the subalterns in the officers' mess are senior to myself? And he couldn't. I said, right, move me back and kick one of them out. Oh, he was furious. But that was the army.
Yeah, look after their own, of course.
And my wife went into East Berlin on the weekend bus tour. And this was exercising the right of access. And she took my little son in, and he's got some vivid memories of sitting in a restaurant where nobody was allowed to start eating the soup until the lady said so. And he can remember that vividly. And I said, well, I want to go into East Berlin. So I phoned up the police and said, have you got anybody going in? Yes, sir, Best Blue, we'll pick you up at such and such a time. So we went straight to the bank and said, this is the best place, sir, for changing into your Eastmarks. I said, that's illegal. Yes, sir, absolutely right. And this is where you get the best rate of exchange.
Excellent. Excellent. Did you do any shopping while you were
Yes,
there?
I bought a vase, and we were looking for it the other day, and we couldn't find it.
Oh well, I never. You didn't buy binoculars, though, because I gather
No, that wasn't
those
on
cameras.
that wasn't on the police shopping list. I had to go where they went.
Fair enough. But anything else you remember back from those days of the wall?
I can remember the wall. Well, the wall was just there, but I remember going to Treptow Park, where there was this massive statue of a Russian soldier with a sword in one hand and a baby cradled in his arm. And this is how they saw themselves as the great victors of Berlin. You never mind the truth, what actually happened.
Yeah.
But the Russians said there were 10,000 troops buried in Treptow Park. The Brits reckoned there were 30,000.
Oh, wow.
There were 3 enormous mass graves, and the Brits reckoned there were 10,000 in each one.
Oh, good Lord.
And I can remember the 2 T-34s pulled up against the Russian War Memorial. And the word was that these had been pulled off the street just immediately after the surrender. And the Russians knew exactly where the delineation was going to be between the sectors. And they pulled these 2 T-34s into the British sector and positioned them back to back. And they reckon that there are still bodies inside, and they just welded up the access.
Oh, good Lord.
And that gave them right of access to change the guard on the War Memorial. And they had right of access looking after Rudolf Hess in Spandau prison. Now, our response to that was the weekend bus stall for the families, run by an education officer.
Yes. Okay.
and the Americans, of course, did the same thing. And their guys at Checkpoint Charlie were absolutely superb. Yeah, they were wearing fatigues all the times I went through. And white helmet, white belt, white gaiters, white gloves, incredibly polite. They were brilliant. You go to Berlin now and you see these ridiculous actors poncing around this garden shed that's supposed to be Checkpoint Charlie. And they don't realize it's a shrine.
Mm.
And the old Berliners, the old Berlin hands, are absolutely devastated by what's happened and how lightly the young are chosen to view Checkpoint Charlie as a tourist attraction.
Yeah, there you go. Now, your description of the Phantom's shortcomings, I enjoy that very much because they're absolutely spot on. And you mentioned the difficulties of operating in German airspace, as well as some very exciting flying exploits. Certainly it presented some challenges had you gone to war.
Yeah. Okay. A head-on attack with the Sparrow missile was absolutely as advertised, and you had enough room to do it. You then have the problem of the stern conversion. And in those days, we had the AIM-9 Golf, which could only be fired from the stern, as you know. And, of course, you've then got the Mongolian hordes pouring across the border, and you don't know who you're turning your backside up to.
Yeah.
And that was a real problem. And, of course, in peacetime constraints, you couldn't go particularly fast. So you really were stuck with a stern conversion, putting your backside up to the enemy and not having a clue what's behind you. And that was a real problem.
Interesting, yeah.
Now, that was assuming a low-level attack, and then we got muddled up because the Americans decided at one stage, this came later, that they could manage full electronic backing, including comms jamming, but only for 2 raids a day, and NATO at the time was planning 8. So that meant that the other 6 had to go at low level, hadn't got any choice. Whereas the Americans allowed themselves access at medium level with this massive jamming that they planned. You remember the Charlie 130H? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the EC-130. I've got some gun camera film of that, me shooting it down, but they insisted that wasn't fair because they usually flew at night.
I've got some gun camera film with the Pippa buried in the open door of a Chinook. that actually got a complaint from the helicopter people.
Oh, dear. I love how you integrated yourself and 19 Squadron into the local community. You seem to have done that very well.
It was made for us, and it was all to do with this squadron drink that we invented.
Yes, the Blue Dolphin, a disgusting thing.
It translated straight into German as De Blaue Delfin. And they were exactly the right colours, the same as the local town.
Ah.
And the mayor was a real character called Willie Stein. And he took one look at this and adopted it as the town drink.
Excellent.
And on the Prinzen Frühstück, which is when the carnival prince has his breakfast, which is an alcoholic meal at about 9 o'clock in the morning, Willie Stein had a brandy glass with the biggest blue dolphin he'd ever seen, and he drank the lot.
Perhaps you better explain what's in a blue dolphin.
Right. It's very important that you put the Steinhager in first. That was the white.
The Steinhager.
It was actually clear. Steinhager is a white schnapps.
Ah, okay.
It's a very nice white schnapps, unlike some of them.
Okay.
And then you put the blue in underneath the white.
And what's the blue?
Blue balls.
Okay.
And to do that...
How did you get it underneath?
Sorry?
How did you get it underneath?
We went to medical centre and got 1,000cc syringe.
It sounds complicated.
With a nice little plastic extension. And filled this thing up. And some of the doctors thought this hilarious. Some made you sign all kinds of forms that you weren't going to drug yourself with it. Well, in fact, you were, obviously.
Yeah, good point.
But a different kind of drug.
Yes,
but the key to it was the 1,000cc syringe. And then you could inject the blue balls underneath the white.
Right. And the ladies enjoyed this?
God, it went down like a sweet rocket, you know, and it went bang inside your stomach. They loved it, you know, more than the blokes.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Excellent. I see that you went on the Royal Air Force Germany Winter Survival Course.
Yes.
We both did that in Bad Kolgrup. Which seemed to involve a lot of skiing and drinking. Now, did you actually learn any survival skills?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. How to survive in the winter in the cold, and I think it was very good.
And you did a bit of resistance to interrogation training as well, I gather.
Well, the night my navigator and I were a bit naive, and we decided to walk across the exercise area. And just take potluck. And of course, the snow had frozen. So as you walked, your tracks went crunch, crunch, crunch. And we came to a forest track. And we sort of looked left and right. And we had the German ski troops out against us. And we went ding, 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 ding across the track. And this shadow arrived out of a ditch. Halt! And we tried to leg it, which was stupid. He was young and fit, and he hadn't got a big pack over his shoulder. And now you are prisoners. and so we followed the rules and submitted meekly. And he was big and strong anyway, and we were knackered. And he took us to a barn, and that was their headquarters. And this very nice German major said, he'd been watching all the movies. I said, for you, the war is over.
Very good.
He said, however, have some chocolate. And he produced a bar of Cadbury's, and he said, it is English, it is very good. Oh, thank you very much. And the Germans gave us soup and coffee, and it was all very nice. And in the middle of this, there was a crunch, 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 and And the door opened, and there was this English voice said, "This looks like a good place to hang up for the night." And, "Good evening. For you, the war is over." and then after we got ourselves thoroughly comfortable with this German Alpine ski mob, and now, sadly, I have to introduce you to a colleague who is not so nice. And we were all shoved in a lorry and dropped off somewhere, and I never found out where because we were blindfolded. And that's when the interrogation took place. And that was quite valuable.
Now, you have described numerous flying exploits in Germany in your book in wonderful detail, and we can't possibly ask you to remember them all, but can you recall one or two, perhaps?
Well, obviously, I wrote the book.
Go on, then.
Well, we decided one New Year's Eve to scramble at midnight.
You see, you did remember one. Well done.
And fly around Germany and check in with every single fighter control unit and wish them Happy New Year.
Oh, very good.
Oh, New Year's Eve, I beg your pardon.
Okay.
Wish them Happy New Year from RAF Air Defence.
No.
And that's what we did. And it's a 3, 2, 1, go, and roared off down the runway at midnight. And I did a low-level circuit around Wildenrath, and I lined up the Airman's Mess or the Mallee Club and the Sergeant's Mess and the Officer's Mess and went about 300 feet straight across the lot with the burners in. And nobody in the Officer's Mess heard. There was so much noise. And except a couple of guys that were standing in the French windows having a smoke, and they saw us go past. And otherwise, it was totally unremarked on.
Oh, wow.
Until 30 years later, and a bloke I was working with, ex-army pilot, lived in the flats off the end of the runway, and he said it was normally quite quiet, except for some bastard on New Year's Eve going straight over the flats.
Brilliant.
So, shall I tell him? Yeah, I went and got my logbook. He said, "You bugger, it was you." Yeah. Anyway, we then climbed up, and we checked in with Gütersloh. No, you can't do a low-level fly past. We got a noise issue here, didn't you know? And I saw all these fireworks exploding all around Gütersloh. I said, yeah, I understand. And then we checked in with the first fighter control unit, and we went right up the border. It was a border patrol, so we went into the border, up the border, checking in with each fighter control unit in turn and saying Happy New Year.
Brilliant.
And then we did the Dutch over at New Milligan, and then the Belgians, and then landed, and that did us a par of good. You know, the goodwill that generated lasted the whole of the next year.
Wow.
So it's a nice story, and it's totally true.
Absolutely, yeah, it's brilliant. Thank you. Eventually, you have to return to reality and take up a post as an instructor. You see, this is the trouble with volunteering to become a QFI. You got a job as an instructor on 228 OCU, training budding Phantom pilots.
Yes.
Were you looking forward to that job?
Yeah, I didn't mind that at all. I thought that was not a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
And I'd been quite a long time in Germany, and I was quite tired. And I got my duty-free car.
Thank you.
And I exchanged headlights with a padre who was just joining, and he had a Peugeot 504.
Oh, so they pointed the right way?
Yeah, and we parked them end to end and swapped headlights.
Excellent, excellent.
And then drove back, and we at that time we took a married quarter at Coningsby.
Now, your time there on the OCU was actually quite short, but it was studded with attaboys, including a Queen's Commendation, the post of the Station Flight Safety Officer. I'm not quite sure whether that's an attaboy or not. But
Yeah, that was all right. I didn't mind doing that. That was quite interesting.
Excellent. Yeah. And you became an instrument rating instructor, and you renewed your A2 QFI status on the Phantom, which takes some doing, because it's not an easy aeroplane to instruct from in the back seat, is it? No. The view is pretty
particularly
awful.
when I had to land from the back with a flap failure.
Oh, yes. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I was flying with a guy on his first trip, and so he'd never landed a Phantom ever. And you probably remember that we would approach with a GCA, a ground-controlled radar approach. And if the guy was doing all right, we'd let him do a touch and go, and then take over as he climbed off into the circuit and demonstrate a circuit. And if he wasn't doing all right, then we'd overshoot him and do the same thing. And in this case, we got waved off. There was somebody on the runway. They said, go around. And as he brought the flap up, there was a massive bang, and one flap came up and the other flap stayed down. And what do we do now? You see, and then the down flap gradually blew itself up. And then the reality hit that, oh my God, this kid has never landed a Phantom ever. So QFI, you've got to land from the back flapless. And it's something we used to practice 2 QFIs together. And we used to laugh about it and say, well, it'll never happen for real. And it did. And I briefed the guy very carefully how he was going to take over on the runway, because he had the nose wheel steering and the brakes and the hook if necessary. And anyway, I did a very, very low circuit so that I could see the runway, and a Spitfire circuit, and rolled out at the last moment so I could just see the edges of the runway, and landed it, and then controlled to the front seat, and it was fun. And years later at the Phantom reunion up in the Moon on the Mall, this guy comes up to me, and can I name names here?
Yeah.
And he was telling me amongst all the noise about this landing from the back seat. And I said, don't be daft. I said, that was me and a bloke called Di Whittingham. I am bloody Di Whittingham. I said, no, you're not. He had a Beatles haircut. And this guy was like a pink cubal. And he said, yes, but we were all younger ones.
I love those plain tales, Captain Nick. Wow. And what a character that guy is.
Yeah, Alan Munro, we've been talking about his book, last couple of plain tales, and I might have enough for one more, because he does tell some really good stories. He's a real character.
And how old is he again? 80 something?
Yeah, he's mid-80s, so because
Still very
he was
sharp.
about 10 years before me in the Air Force. So, yeah, and he's doing very well. Yeah, nice chap.
Very nice, very nice. I love all the stories. All right. I think now then we can move on to our feedback.
Captain, incoming message.
All right, we're going to start the feedback segment with this from Texas Anla'Shok. The title of his feedback, What Has Been? Greetings, Captain Jeff and the APG crew. So I recently went on a trip to Washington, D.C., and I thought I'd share some thoughts. One of the highlights there is, of course, the National Air and Space Museum and the Udvar-Hazy Center. It got me thinking a bit about the approach museums take in presenting their exhibits. The Air and Space Museum itself has a kind of immersive approach. For example, the display of the ship of Theseus, that is partially comprised of components of the original 1903 Wright Flyer. No one seems to know just how much, but the initial rebuild was done by Orville Wright himself, so there you are. It's an entire section themed to resemble turn of the 20th century America, literal walls of text about the Wright family, interactive displays, and sound effects almost like you're at Disneyland. The Udvar-Hazy Center is much more straightforward. They do have some interpretive displays, but for the most part, it's here's the thing. Here's a placard saying what it is and why it's significant, and that's about it. I guess you'd call the distinction display-based museums and artifact-based museums, just something I noticed. At Arlington Cemetery, I saw the Pan Am 103 Memorial Cairn, and while returning to Reagan National, I stumbled onto a small display about the plantation that once stood on the land that is now the airport, the Abington Plantation, a property once owned for a time by George Washington's son-in-law. Parts of the plantation house are still on the premises, but I wasn't able to check it out. This got me to thinking about what the airports were before they were airports. So I began punching in a few, and here are the Google Gemini summaries of a few of them. I guess that's Google's chat GPT AI thing. Let's see. The original land for what is now Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, was originally part of the Bennett Rancho, a property that pioneer aviators began using as a makeshift landing strip in the 1920s. The site, located in Inglewood, California, became a formal airport and was known as Mines Field before being dedicated as the Los Angeles Airport in 1930. The original land for JFK Airport was a marshy area on the south shore of Queens, New York, which included the Idlewild Beach Golf Course, a summer hotel, and the Jamaica Sea Airport. The airport began construction in 1943 to relieve congestion at LaGuardia Field. The original land for Atlanta's airport was the 287-acre abandoned auto racetrack known as Candler Speedway. The city began operating it as an airfield in 1925 under a 5-year rent-free lease from the property's owner. It officially became the Atlanta Airport in 1927 after the city had acquired the land and began to develop it. That was my trip. I did a few other things not strictly aviation related, like the International Spy Museum, which was very interesting, and Capitol Tour, but I did have one last little coda. My flight out of Reagan National was aboard November 8964 Lima, serial number 68926, Southwest's, at the time, newest 737 MAX 8, delivered August 26, literally while I was still on my trip. So that was neat. That's all for now. Clear skies to you all. This is the Texas Anla'Shok signing off. Thank you, Texas Anla'Shok. That new airplane smell, huh? I guess you had on that 737 MAX-8. That's cool.
And it kept all of its doors and trim systems. And
apparently, we didn't have it in our news segment. Yeah.
Fall off.
So
actually, it's interesting that Texas mentioned the places that have been turned into airfields. I used to go into New York, and our hotel was very close to the Roosevelt Field Mall. We used to go shopping there, and it took me a while to realize that that's where Lindbergh took off on his solo crossing of the Atlantic, landing at Paris, and that was the opposite. So it was an incredibly historic airfield that had been turned into a shopping center. What a shame.
Yeah, that is a shame. They said Atlanta Airport was called the Raceway, Candler Speedway? Candler, yep. I believe it's the same name as the famous Coca-Cola bottler here in Atlanta. Made Coca-Cola quite famous, and that's why the headquarters for Coca-Cola are here in Atlanta, right next to Georgia Tech. Yeah.
Been to the museum.
Yeah. Very interesting. I'm sure there are a lot of great stories. In the JFK marshy area, once known as Idlewild Airport, was changed to John F. Kennedy, I think like the next day or within a week of the assassination of the president back there in the early 60s. All right. Thank you, Texas Anla'Shok. Let's continue on with this from Sam Dawson. Now, he sent us a link to a BlancoLirio, Juan Brown's YouTube channel of the Hopa Jet Flight 823 NTSB public docket. Now, I'm not going to play the video, Liz. Sorry, I should have told you that. He says, a very interesting watch of Juan Brown's analysis of the Hopa Jet crash you covered some time ago. Not what I would have guessed as a possible cause. And so the video, or actually the investigation, the docket talks about the dual engine failure that left this private jet powerless. And the investigation is focusing on a variable stator vane and corrosion, examining maintenance history and engine wash procedures. A deep dive into technical details reveals a potential cause. Again, this is not a final report. It's just a release of a public docket, which kind of sometimes gives you some hints as to what they're kind of focusing upon on the investigation. Sam says he flew helicopters quite often over saltwater, and we did engine washes quite regularly. So seems like that may have been the case or the cause of this terrible crash.
I think it suffered a couple of dual engine start failures, which sort of pointed the finger at the stators. They're the movable vanes that are at stages in the engine, generally in the front of the compressors, that sort of set the air up at the right angle for the rotating compressors blades to receive. If they are at the wrong angle, then that airflow becomes very disturbed, and effectively the blades in the compressors stall, and that will obviously cause an engine stall and a loss of power. I know that because I had one in a 340. So we lost an engine, luckily before we even got airborne. As we tried to taxi out, the engine failed because the in IGVs, the inlet guide vanes on one of the engines had failed, and the engine didn't want to accelerate. We refused to accelerate every time I tried it. It just failed. So Diana Tickle has asked, "What's an engine wash?" Well, funny enough, you run the engine and you have a sort of a gantry on the front, circular pressurized liquid delivering gantry that as you rotate the engine, it sprays a cleaning fluid into the blades, which takes all the muck off. I think I've got that about right. I've heard it called or heard it described many times by the engineers. I've never actually seen one in progress.
Yeah, same thing. That's exactly how I've heard it described, but I've never seen one either.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Sounds reasonable.
Or you could just fly the airplane into some fresh water. That will do it instead.
Okay.
Well, you don't want to fly it. You just want to taxi it. No, that's why they have the boat ramp. So you just taxi it in, and then you can just turn around and come back
into a big pond. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Sam, for that. And that link will be in the show notes. Let's continue on with this piece of feedback from Texas Charlie. Howdy, y'all. The story here that in March 2022, this Indian Coast Guard Dornier 228-101 suffered a runway excursion after landing at Kanpur Air Force Station in India. The aircraft had suffered a number 1 engine failure, the left engine, and the crew had feathered the propeller. During landing rollout on runway 14 at Kanpur Air Force Station, the aircraft veered to the right, skidded off the side of the runway. The aircraft ran over an uneven part of the terrain, causing the nose landing gear to collapse. It then struck an airport structure and came to a stop. The 4 occupants escaped unhurt. Reports are that the plane didn't suffer major damage. So just 4 sets of jockey tighty-whities were lost in the incident. All I can say is that Dornier builds some tough wheel struts. Okay, so let's have a look at this and see what he's talking about here. Okay, here comes the Dornier 228-101 for landing at the...
all right, isn't it? What's wrong with that?
It looks fine. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Reasonably nice touchdown.
Yeah.
And it's not super high resolution video. It doesn't.
Wait, what's he doing that for?
I don't know. He's trying to avoid a squirrel or something on the runway. I don't know.
Cross country.
Oh,
the Met man will not be impressed. That was the Met monitoring box that has all the meteorological instruments in. He just took out.
Oh boy. All right, let's go ahead and shut down number 2 engine. And okay, let's get out of here. There's 1, there's 2.
Just run away. Pretend it wasn't us.
And then they're going, okay, hey guys, we should get out now. Okay, come on. Nice job, by the way, on that landing.
I like the one who's climbing out the window.
Yeah.
I guess that is technically a door, but it looks like a window.
Oh, yeah. There we go. All right, all 4 of them are out safely. They look like they're not injured at all. Yeah. Interesting, yeah. So as he says, looks like Dornier makes some really tough wheel struts. Yeah, they sure do.
Oh,
Except for the
absolutely.
front one.
Yeah, the one in the front didn't do so well when it hit the concrete, whatever that was.
The berm.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Texas Charlie, for that. That was kind of amusing. I mean, we think it's amusing, but the people involved in the incident probably don't.
So what have we learned?
Like
with an engine out, don't go to max reverse thrust.
Yeah, probably not a good idea unless you're using a heck of a lot of opposite rudder and maybe some differential braking to keep it going straight down the runway would be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, AJ, looks like there was plenty of runway there that they didn't need to spin up that right in number 2 engine so high in reverse. All right, let's continue on with this from Big Ron Buckwell. He's got an update. Hi, Captain Jeff and crew. Just to let you know, I'm still kicking about. That's good to hear, Big Ron. Still listening to your great podcasts. Oh, and still have my number plate. Oh, nice. We're an all-electric car family now. Do you think there'll ever be electric airliners? Big Ron. So he sent in a photo of his electric Hyundai, I think. Isn't that what that is? Hyundai. And it has VC10 Ron, his nameplate there on the front of that nice electric car, nice electric vehicle. His question is, do we ever think that there are going to be electric airliners? Probably not anytime soon until they figure out the energy density problem with the batteries and the weight.
Would you
issue.
consider a airliner with a small nuclear fuel cell that powered electric ducted fans to be an electric airliner?
I would. Yeah, I guess you could call that a hybrid.
I think that's more likely than a pure electric battery airliner.
That solves the issue with the heavy
I think
battery.
they'll go either hydrogen fuel cells or hydrogen fuel for the engines.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably going to happen before the nuclear option.
The old nuclear option. Okay. Possible show title. I don't know. We'll see. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. So that's what we think about the possibility of electric airliners. Big Ron, thanks again for letting us know that you're still alive and you're still listening, and we do appreciate that. This from Steve Simpson. Oh boy. Okay. We still haven't heard from Richard Nash regarding his feedback regarding -8/-800. But Steve is going to try to help us with this issue. Good morning, crew. Well, might be morning wherever you are. I had to chuckle at the artwork for this episode. Being a balding, slightly overweight Simpson, I felt like it was designed for me. Okay, he's talking about the show cover art for the Nuclear Power Guy show.
Nuclear Reactor Guy.
Nuclear Reactor Guy. That's it. I knew that was wrong when I said it. Thank you. Nuclear Reactor Guy show. I had to chuckle at the artwork. Okay. Even more so when you spoke about aircraft switching runways at the last moment. I was on a Swissair A320 heading into Zurich, and we were over the threshold to runway 16. We made a last moment switch to runway 14. Obviously only a 20-degree turn and with the runway offset, not an issue. I've also been meaning to look up the Boeing production lists for the Boeing 747-8 and then parentheses 00, as the early ones were delivered with a 747-800 sticker on them.
Ooh.
The latter ones were 747-8.
Oh, that's
I've been
interesting.
intending to see at what point the change was made, but I haven't had time since I retired. That's funny. Captain Nick and I and Liz understand exactly what you mean by that. Korean Air reference to theirs as 747-8B5s and Lufthansa 747-830s. And thank you for not using apostrophes, Steve. He knows how to use apostrophes. I love that. So in conclusion, I think both nomenclature have merit and are correct. Hope that helps. Steve. Yeah, it did, Steve.
So, two things. I think he knows how to not use apostrophes.
Well, okay, I guess you could say it that way. He knows that it's proper to not use an apostrophe when you're talking about plurals. Or
correct.
Yes.
So he knows how to not use them.
Okay. Point taken.
And also, we were right.
Yeah, we were right. Yeah, wait, hang on. That deserves the bell, right? Okay.
In summation, you're welcome.
Yes. So, Richard Nash, if you're still listening to our show, come on back. It's okay. It's okay. We love you.
We'll forgive you.
Yeah. We also received this from Henry, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his. I know we've tried to pronounce his name in the past, and we're just going to give up. It starts with a C and ends with a K. It has a lot of Cieslarczyk?
Cieslarczyk.
Okay, there you go. According to AJ. What about possessive plurals? Marin asks. Possessive plurals. Well, then you would have the apostrophe after the S, correct?
Precisely.
AJ? Yeah.
Indubitably.
Indubitably.
And where do you put an Oxford comma? I've always wondered about that.
Well,
Cambridge.
we could. And they really get pissed when you do that.
Yeah, that's right. Take your commas back to Oxford, thank you.
Okay. I'm a big fan of the Oxford comma, by the way.
Yes, I think Liz, this is a message from Liz.
I know. I see the message from Liz. Okay. Anyway, back to Henry. Cieslarczyk. How do you say that again?
Cieslarczyk.
Cieslarczyk. No de-icing?
Just squish your mouth a little bit.
Okay. So Henry from Berlin sent this in a while back, and we're just going to quickly mention or say thank you for doing that. But it's something that we have covered before, at least a couple of times on the show. But it, you know what? Heck, I'll just go ahead and play a little snippet. If you'll put that up on the. Yeah, thanks, Liz. Here we go. So this is I should have turned the volume down. A video clip. I'm going to turn that down here. I'll probably forget to turn it back up. But it's a A320 right wing, and it has a lot of snow on it. And they're doing their de-icing procedure right now as the airplane's rolling down the runway, letting the airflow take all of the snow, collected snow. Well, not all of the snows, most of it off the wing surfaces, and then they take off, and obviously it's creating lift. Yeah, so we get to look at that one more time. He said that he's very interested in our assessment. Would you consider this safe? I'm not sure I would consider it safe, but I would consider it what they did for them was safe. But I can definitely tell you that the regulatory agencies for most of the world would frown on what they did there, and not having the lifting surfaces completely clear of contaminants such as snow and ice. Yeah,
I've always had a wonder about that, especially on bigger airplanes. So you're taxiing out and it is actively snowing. Mm-hmm. As you're taxiing, you're going to be collecting snow. It's inevitable, right?
Yeah. We have an answer. There's type 1 and type 4 fluids. There's also type 2 and type 3, but the most commonly used ones in modern times are type 1, which is a de-icing fluid. So that
and
takes...
Type 4 is an anti-icing.
And then 4 is anti-icing, which Captain Nick would probably be able to tell us a little bit more about the type 4 fluid and what its purpose is.
Well, it's a very viscous gel that sits in a layer on the flying surfaces. And as the snow lands on it, it is absorbed into the type 4. And the holdover period you are allowed before you have to go and retreat the aircraft with more anti-icing or de-icing and anti-icing Depends on the intensity and the temperature and the type of snow, because eventually the gel will become overwhelmed and the snow will start to lie on the surfaces and won't be absorbed anymore.
So
That gel is supposed to shear off and slide off the wing because it's quite a thick layer as you reach flying, or before you reach flying speed. So usually just over 100 knots.
So could that not feasibly be what we just saw there?
I don't think so, because there's too much snow sitting on top of, if they had anti-icing gel on there, whichever type it was being overcome by the amount of snow. So I would say there's way too much snow on that. Although it appeared to slide off, I think that was more the snow dust, the flakes being just blown off. There was still plenty adhering to the wing. So I wouldn't say that's correct. In addition to the fact that you're not supposed to deploy your flaps until you get to the runway just before takeoff. So he'd already had his flaps out for some time and actually had snow sitting on the flaps. So it's what it looked like anyway.
That is an airline specific thing, by the way. And at the airline for whom I flew for many, many years, different time frames determined what the policy was as far as when you extend the flaps for takeoff, either after you have de-iced, anti-iced, and are approaching the runway and gone the runway, or you go ahead and set and configure prior to de-icing or anti-icing, both. And so I've seen both, and they both seem to work because I've flown airplanes in both situations and didn't crash. So
well done. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my accomplishment.
A win.
No crashes. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. So definitely that was not de-iced. Usually it's pretty clear. Not clear. It's evident that a anti-icing layer of fluid has been applied because it's very brightly colored, either green or orange. I've seen orange too, but mostly it's green. It's kind of it's hard not to miss. Or no, it's hard to miss.
It's hard to miss.
It is hard to miss. That's what I mean. That's the one I'm going to choose for the audio only podcast.
Good man.
Yeah, thank you.
It's hard not to miss the seeing of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
That too.
Yeah. Okay. So Liz is telling us our 2-hour mark is 20 after, so we have a little over 10 minutes to go. All right.
Well, we're cracking through this. So keep going.
We are. This next piece of feedback is from Tom Tordell. Super glued tail, huh? He says, November 302 Papa Quebec has returned to the line after reconstructive surgery and 14 rolls of speed tape. Y'all probably already got this, but what the heck, here's my 2 cents. After a Big Brother A330 kicked its butt, the hangar rays fixed it. Clear and 1,000, Tom T. So he's referring to the incident at the Atlanta International Airport where a 330 wing clipped the tail of a CRJ, I think it was a 900, and basically just lopped the entire darn thing off of the CRJ. And 900, there we go. And it was an Airbus A350 that did the damage. I said 330, but it was a 350. And we covered it in detail when it happened, and looks like they have put it all back together, and it's being flown again. That's good news. All right. Anything to add, crew? No?
Duct tape will fix anything.
Duct tape will, yeah.
If you're going to run into another airplane, make sure it doesn't belong to your company.
Exactly.
They got half of it right? Make sure it's smaller than you, and make sure it's not yours.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Is Endeavor wholly owned by Delta? Maybe it is. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. The pictures are all that matters.
It's whatever's painted on it, right? Okay, yeah, that's true. Sadly. This is from Robert Thompson, this next piece of feedback. USA carriers lose money flying around Russia. He says, I'm sharing this post I saw this morning. I don't know when he saw this, but let's see. This is from what looks like X, maybe? Twitter? From Aviation Circle. United is urging the U.S. Department of Transportation to close what it calls a loophole by adding Hong Kong-based Cathay Pacific to a proposed ban on airlines that overfly Russia on U.S. routes. The push comes during DOT's review of a plan aimed at Chinese carriers that still use Russian airspace on U.S. to China flights, which U.S. airlines can't access since 2022. What happened in 2022? United argues the shorter, cheaper routings give foreign competitors an unfair edge on long trans-Pacific trips. Where it stands, the DOT has issued a tentative proposal and is taking public comments before a final order. U.S. airline group Airlines for America supports restricting Russian overflights to a level playing field, while major Chinese carriers have formally objected, warning of longer flight times, higher costs, and holiday season disruptions if they must detour around Russia, like everybody else has to. Why this matters for U.S. travelers. Closing the overflight gap could rebalance schedules and costs across U.S. Asian markets, though near-term operational changes may be limited as DOT refines the rule. United wants Cathay's U.S. flights covered as well, noting that some Hong Kong to U.S. routings have used Russian airspace even as American and most European carriers remain barred. Expect more back and forth before the DOT finalizes the order. And again, this is from Robert in Tucker, Georgia. What say y'all about this? I mean, I don't think I can understand where the U.S. carriers are objecting a bit, and some of the European carriers as well, saying, hey, why is it okay for them, but not for us? But they're different countries, and this is a world that is not unified. Maybe that's the answer. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Russia banned its airspace to a lot of countries because it saw restrictions being put on it as unfair. Obviously, China and Hong Kong, because it's part of China now, doesn't fall in that area. So it's a bit political, really. So fix the politics, and then you'll fix the airspace.
There you go. Good luck with fixing the politics, though.
Yep.
All right. Thanks. Good to hear from you, Robert. Next one from Sam Dawson. We've heard from him a couple times already on the show. And the title of his feedback is YouTube Alerts. In the last show, you asked about YouTube Alerts. Well, it was several shows ago. I do not get alerts that you're going live, although I've signed up for them, I think. Because of this, I normally miss the live shows. I click on the APG website to check normally the day after a live show. Well, that's no good. Sam, you got to check the day before a live show, not after. So I have a screenshot here of our website with let's see, I guess that's the calendar page of our website. And it shows the Google Calendar that we've created to make announcements about when we're going to have the show and other stuff that we put on there. And then if you look at the very bottom left-hand side of that calendar, it has a add to Google Calendar. So if you have Google Calendar, or integration with Google Calendar, you can add this APG community calendar to your personal calendar. And then I think you'd have to set up alerts and that kind of thing. But I think we learned, and we talked about on a previous show, that because these are live and they're unlisted and they're not public, I think that's the reason why the alerts when we go live are not showing up. And that's just, until they change things, that's just the way it's going to be. So, and just a reminder, and we'll talk about it at the very end of the show when we're wrapping up, social media. If you follow us on X and Facebook, you will, Liz puts out at least a couple of notifications before each show. So make sure you're signed up on those, and then hopefully you won't miss a live recording, because it's a lot of fun to be in our live audience, as several are with us here today. Yes, this is from Captain Steffen. He came across this on the on the web. Interesting facts about the Mooney aircraft.
A lot of people ask me why the Mooney tail looks like it's on backwards, and it actually is on backwards. But that's a design feature of the airplane. As you guys know, airplanes have to land into the wind, right? So if the wind is not going down the runway the right direction, you have to land backwards. Most airplanes can't do that. The Mooney can, because the tail's on backwards. And I know a lot of you guys probably don't believe me, so here's a video of me landing in my Mooney backwards down the runway. Actually a pretty good landing.
Wow, very nice.
He left putting the gear down a bit late, I thought.
I was going to say the exact same thing, but when you land backwards, you can't afford the extra drag until the last second. Yeah, it's a timing thing. Yeah.
I guess, do you like have to turn your head all the way around to see the runway behind you, or do you like use
No,
mirrors?
there's a periscope.
The seat swivel.
A periscope. Seat swivel. Very good. You know, people have always wondered about that tail, but now we know the answer.
There's a switch under the dash as well that reverses the controls, so you don't have reverse authority. So it flies normally. It's actually really easy.
And then iHall Boxes says, "Oh look, the pilot put it in reverse." Yeah. Does it beep going backwards? I don't know. Probably all the noise from the propeller and engine it drowns out that beeping noise.
Only on the taxi. It doesn't do it on final.
Okay. Thank you, Captain Steffen, for that. It's always good to increase our knowledge of Mooney airplanes. And speaking of little airplanes, general aviation, a very little airplane, a Carbon Cub. Merl sent this in, and I don't believe I know it said video here, but I didn't download the video because it's just basically a Carbon Cub, which is what would you call that? A replica of the Piper J3 Cub?
An homage.
An homage. Okay. Liz is showing a still photo of one of the Carbon Cubs. I guess it's the one that was involved in this piece of feedback.
Is that
that guy in the middle is the guy who did the flight.
Oh, okay. Yes, Captain Nick.
Not Adam. I thought it was Adam Spink in the middle there.
Oh, it could be. I didn't know
Jeff
he had
Kotwicki.
Okay. So this is a press release from cubcrafters.com. The press release, Carbon Cub UL, I guess ultra light, ultra long, ultra light, soars to record altitude of, now what do you think? This is a single engine tandem seating aircraft.
Fabric covered.
Fabric covered. It's fabric wings and fabric fuselage.
Fabric fuselage.
And as AJ mentioned, John Kotwicki, there's a picture of him flying the airplane at 37,609 feet. That's the unofficial new service ceiling for the Carbon Cub UL. Now, I wouldn't recommend if you own a Carbon Cub UL doing this. Doesn't seem like something that would be that practical. But on October 30th, 2025, so not long ago at all, about a week ago, in an incredible demonstration of the capability of modern backcountry aircraft, a Cub Crafters Carbon Cub UL climbed to a verified altitude of 37,609 feet, which is, for those of you using the metric system, 11,460 meters, or 7.12 miles above sea level over the California coast on October 28th. Oh, it's October 28th when they actually set the record, setting an unofficial new world altitude record for a Cub-type aircraft. The historic climb surpasses the previous record of 30,203 feet set by pioneering aviator Caro Bailey in a PA-18 Piper Super Cub over Miami, Florida in February of 1951. Bailey's record was recognized internationally by the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale, the Federal Aeronautic International, in the Yeah, I did my best. In the C-1B light aircraft class, earning her the prestigious BlancoLirio medal, and has stood the test of time as the high altitude benchmark for light STOL, short takeoff and landing aircraft, for almost 75 years. Wow. So there's more to this article if you want to read the details. But in the picture of John, he is wearing a military style, what looks to me like a military style oxygen mask. Obviously, the partial pressure of oxygen in an unpressurized airplane up at 37,000 feet is not very much. And so you need to be under probably pressure breathing that oxygen to make sure you don't pass out. Maine Marin says, I wonder if the jet stream was considered in his glide circle. Could be. Because this time
the thing that's I think is really impressive about this airplane is that he climbed that high, and throughout that whole climb, he averaged about 600 feet a minute.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw some of that. I was impressed. I mean, that's some performance. And I reckon if he put ordinary tires on instead of the balloon tires, he'd have got even higher.
Mm-hmm.
But there's helium in those tires. That's what helped, I think.
Not hydrogen.
Yeah, because hydrogen is explosive. The other thing,
it's lighter than helium.
Let's see, it's a Rotax, right? What kind of Rotax? How many horsepower?
It's a road tax, but
it's
he's
a 916 IS. It's I don't remember what the horsepower is on it, but it is turbocharged, which is part of why he was able to do that.
Yeah, because otherwise, probably normally aspirated wouldn't be able to run that high, right?
Correct.
Or if it did, it probably wouldn't be producing much power. All right. Well, very interesting.
Was it supercharged?
Turbocharged.
Turbocharged. Okay.
Well, thank you, Merl, for sending this in to us. He has got a link to a BlancoLirio channel. Juan Brown, he said, provided a warning to airline pilots that nowhere is safe from bug smashers. That's cute.
I think in one of the videos there was a audio of a center controller giving I think it might have been a Delta flight, a traffic warning. Yeah, off your left side there's a Piper Cub. Guy's like, a what?
Say again? I thought you said. I did.
Love it.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right. Well, a couple of great little GA stories to end the show today. We're going to wrap it up now and point you to our website, airlinepilotguy.com, where we have somewhat accurate information about the crew and the community and the calendar, as we just mentioned. Also merchandise, a library, so much more. More information about the plane tales that the old pilot, puts together. Gives you some more information, more photos and that sort of thing. So check it out. airlinepilotguy.com, and we are on social media. And I think the last time AJ did it, so I think it's Captain Nick's turn to tell us about our social media.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Faceplant, then you go there and just search for Airline Pilot Guy. That's all one word. X, does that mean you're an ex-contributor? If you
could be.
Stop being on X. At APG Crew is our handle there. The Instas, where I stick a lot of the artwork. If you're interested in looking at that, then Instagram.com/APG Crew. And of course, if you are enjoying eating the sausage that we're putting together right now, then YouTube.com. You can find the video at Airline Pilot Guy.
And it's very, very sweet smelling sausage. It's not stinky at all. So come over here and check it out.
Smells sweet, tastes dreadful.
Oh, well, I don't know. I think it tastes good too.
And it's certainly not pretty to watch.
Well, no, that's for sure. It's not. Speaking of not pretty to watch, Hillel, can you tell us about Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
Sorry, Hillel, I'm just kidding. Come on over here and tell us all about it.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and plain tales topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com. Or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Thanks a lot, Hillel.
Mind if I use your razor, Jeff?
Yes, I do mind. Thank you very much. All right. Thanks a lot, Hillel, for creating and managing our Slackers. And we'd also like to thank our producer, Liz Piper.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, like really loud all of a sudden. Just like,
yeah. Brilliant. Then you look as clear as crystal.
Yep. No light diffusion or anything. So thank you for all the behind-the-scenes activity and nonverbal communications to us.
Well, I'm sure there was plenty of verbal communication, just thankfully.
Yeah, we couldn't hear them.
Couldn't hear it. Thank the Lord.
And we'd also like to thank our live audience, our live chat folks, for showing up today and providing information and entertainment and all that. So, again, just a reminder, follow us on the social medias and join us for a live recording. I think you will have a good time. And finally, we'd like to say we hope to see you again next week, and wishing you clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care, and God bless.
That's all for now.
You're welcome.
See you next time.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the airline pilot guy.
Good day.
I used to be such a good pilot till I started APG. I opened doors for little old ladies. I helped them to their seats. Airline pilot guy, I fly America. Oh, airline pilot guy, he can land in heavy fog. I got no friends 'cause I'm always flying. I just don't have the time. But I can land this old plane. I can land it just fine. Airline pilot guy, I fly